Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and conquer the exact pain points where most ICSE students end up losing marks in linear inequalities. If you've ever felt totally lost when a greater than sign suddenly flips on you, or you wondered why your number line graph got 0 marks even though your math was right, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to master this minefield together.
Here is our survival plan for your 2026-27 boards. Section 1 covers equations versus linear inequalities. Section 2 is all about the laws of transposition. Section 3 brings us to the golden rule. Section 4 breaks down replacement versus solution sets. Section 5 tackles number line representation. And finally, Section 6 equips you with your ICSE Masterclass survival gear.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Equations versus Linear Inequalities.
So, for years you've worked with equations. They have a strict, fixed balance right on that equal sign, giving you one specific answer. But an inequation, that replaces the equal sign with inequality symbols like greater than or less than. It's no longer just a single point on a scale. It actually opens up an entire zone of possible answers.
Specifically, we're dealing with a linear inequality in one variable. All that really means is the highest power of our single variable, usually x, is just 1. It's that straightforward. Now, before we really get into the weeds, make sure you subscribe to the ICSE Masterclass YouTube channel. You definitely don't want to miss our high-performance, one-shot concept breakdowns designed specifically for your 2026-27 batch.
All right, moving on to Section 2, the laws of transposition. These are your basic tools, and honestly, they'll feel pretty familiar. Just like with standard equations, if you move a positive term across the inequality, it becomes negative. Move a negative term across, it becomes positive. You can also add, subtract, multiply, or divide both sides by the same positive number without any worry. The inequality sign stays exactly identical. Think of it like adding weight equally to both sides of a tilted scale. It doesn't change which side is heavier. Feels pretty safe, right? Well, don't get too comfortable, because here comes the danger zone.
And that brings us to Section 3, the golden rule.
Top educators at A Grader have identified this as the absolute #1 mistake students make. Look at this mantra: variables should never be negative. You literally need to chant this in the exam hall. If you end up with a negative variable term, like a negative 2x, you have to deal with it properly or your final answer is going to be completely wrong. Students constantly leave the variable negative, do the division, and end up with the inequality pointing the wrong way.
So here is exactly how the golden rule works. Multiplying or dividing each term by a negative number instantly reverses the inequality sign. For example, if you have negative 4x is less than 8 and you divide by negative 4, that less than sign immediately flips to a greater than sign. Changing the sign of every term on both sides, that does the exact same thing. Taking the reciprocals of both sides also reverses the sign. If you forget this rule, you've officially stepped on the mine. Let's push forward to Section 4, replacement sets versus solution sets.
Okay, so once you've isolated your variable and safely navigated that golden rule, you have to actually define your answer. I want you to think of the replacement set or universal set as a giant menu of numbers given to you by the question. It's the broader universe you have to choose from. The solution set or truth set, on the other hand, is the specific subset of items from that menu that you're actually allowed to order because they satisfy the math. And remember, you must always write your solution set inside those curly brackets.
Knowing your core number systems is absolutely critical here. N is for natural numbers, which are counting numbers starting at 1. W is for whole numbers, which just add 0 to the mix. Z or I stands for integers, positives, negatives, and 0. But R, the real numbers, includes every single microscopic fraction and decimal on the line. This matters because an answer of x is less than 3 changes dramatically depending on the set. If your set is natural numbers, your answer is just 1 and 2. If it's real numbers, it's an infinite continuum of values.
Next up, Section 5, number line representation. You have to notice the difference between the markers here. An encircled, hollow circle means the number is excluded, which you use for strict inequalities, like less than or greater than. Meanwhile, a darkened, solid circle means the number is included, which is what you use when you see less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. The easy way to remember it: hollow means skip it, solid means grip it.
A Grader highlights that mixing up these graphing representations is a massive error. For discrete sets like natural numbers, whole numbers, or integers, you must use distinct heavy dots on those specific numbers. But for real numbers, you have to use a continuous thick line drawn right over the number line because it includes all those fractions and decimals in between. If you draw a solid thick line for a natural number set, you're going to lose marks. Distinct dots for discrete sets, continuous thick line for real numbers.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, ICSE Masterclass Survival Gear.
Having the right resources is honestly just as important as understanding the math itself. So you need to join our official Telegram channel right now at t.me/ICSE_masterclass. That is where you can download free, high-quality handwritten study notes, access exclusive formula sheets, and grab the target question bank specifically for this chapter. And again, don't forget to subscribe to the ICSE Masterclass YouTube channel to really secure your board exam success.
So you know exactly where the traps are laid, the flipped signs, the hollow circles, that infinite continuum of real numbers. But knowing the path and actually walking it are two very different things. When you sit in that exam hall and the golden rule presents itself, are you going to step on the mine, or will you flawlessly walk right over it to a perfect score? Download those resources, master your number lines, and I will see you in the next explainer.